Hello everybody! So this week's live stream is going to be about water testing because I just feel like we don't emphasize it enough. This microphone is pulling my shirt down. Makes me look bad. Let me know if we have sound. I'm going to go ahead and grab another window here. Make sure that we are on YouTube where we belong. Hi Jeff! First. Hi, Andrea. Andrea. Let's see how I decide to say that. Hey, hold my frag! This thing is slowly loading. Let's make sure we are on the right Wi-Fi. Yep, we are. Okay, that part's good. And we are live on YouTube? Yes, it's working! Alright, cool. I just wanted to get the chat box up on my screen. And hopefully it won't interrupt with you guys. So, I have an arsenal of stuff next to me here that you can't see yet. Let's see if I can make a switcheroo. Let's see if this is going to be a mess. Actually, it looks crooked. Just a second. Alright, there we go. Let's see what happens. Let's try camera 2. Neither one works. All right, let me see. What am I doing wrong here? It's always a surprise over here. Give me a second to get this sorted out. Weird. They had all my stuff on here, and now it's all hiding. What I need, I don't have in front of me. Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in. The reason I'm late for this live stream is because there was a bee or a wasp or something in my house. And not to give you too many mental visuals, but I had to catch it and get it out of here. So, kind of made me run a little bit late. All right. So what I'm missing here is my camera control. Let's see if I can get this to appear. Camera. Oh, there's only one. Huh, maybe it's not plugged in. It's not plugged in. Well, that explains it. All right. I was like, why can't I get access to this camera? Let's see if that helps. Sorry about that. And what I really, really need is another pair of eyeballs because my glasses are not cutting it for me today. So we're going to switch. For a moment there, I'm going to look like Clark Kent. No, I'm still Clark Kent. All right, let's see what that does. See if we can get to camera 2. Let's see if there's an option now. Do that. Boom! Okay, so we have a lot of testing stuff here. It's really white. White means ELOS, just so you know. And, all right, back to camera 1. So today's video or live stream is specifically talking about water testing, and the reason I'm emphasizing it is because I feel like not enough of you are actually doing it. So, in the chat, feel free to put your comments if you are testing weekly. Just type the word weekly. I just want to see that reaction. If you are not testing weekly, I want you to start doing that because it's so easy to get lackadaisical about your tank and let it go to crap because you're not keeping up because everything looks fine. Got to get rid of the word fine. This hobby is the worst at using the word fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. My fish are dying. Everything's fine. So we need to test and we need to measure. And I've been telling you guys that I document everything in Reef Trace. And that is really a great place to put it because you can share it with others and you can hold each other accountable to some degree. There's a new version rolling out later this week, which is really exciting. And there's going to be some really cool updates in there. And then there's another update coming sometime in early spring of next year that some of you may embrace. Some of you VIPs might say, I totally want that app. But, you know, that's to be determined later. So what I want is, okay, great. I'm seeing a lot of people saying they're testing weekly. Thank you so much for doing that. I've been in this hobby a long, long time, and I am trying to test weekly. And it's easy to get away. You know, I spend my time on YouTube. I spend my time on Facebook. I work on my tank to fix whatever I find wrong. But then to actually take 20 minutes to test everything, you know, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll do that tomorrow. Or I'm just so tired right now. And if we don't keep up with it, then what ends up happening is the tank starts slowly going to crap, and you don't even know it until you finally test. And when do you know? I mean, okay, let's, not you guys, a bunch of you said weekly, you're good. But the ones of you that did not say weekly, when do you test? When things start going wrong. And at that point, it's too late. I don't even know what to compare that to. I'm trying to think of an analogy that comes quickly to mind, but nothing does. Bottom line is that if alkalinity has gone off track and you have ignored it, by the time you realize what's going on, it could be too late. And then you're playing recovery, you're playing catch up, you're trying to solve it, your hair's on fire, and you end up with with coral losses usually. Not usually fish losses, but coral losses. Mike says he checks the temperature daily. So let's talk about some of the choices you guys have. I have quite a few choices. Over the last few months, I have been buying test kits left and right because I wanted to do more and more videos to stick on my channel showing how I use these test kits. I feel like that is one way to help you become more successful with a test kit if you're not really familiar how to use it. If you can watch someone else use it, maybe that'll give you some, I don't know, tips, clues, suggestions, ideas. Maybe just looking over the shoulder of someone can help you use that test properly. And normally, it's not really a certain number that matters as much as the trend. So, I mean, for example, you guys know I have nitrate in my tank. And the nitrate is up there, and yet all my livestock's alive. Now, if someone gives me a frag and I put it into my nitrate-laden water, sometimes they don't do well because they came from a system with very low nitrate, and I kind of like put them in a lot of nitrate. Same thing with my corals. Sometimes I give a frag to someone else, and it may not do so well in their system because there's a lack of nitrate and phosphate. More and more people these days are suffering, their tanks are dealing with some major issues, specifically stuff on the sand. And I'm not talking about cyano. Cyano is normal, it's seasonal, it happens to all of us. I've got a little bit in my tank, as you guys saw on Instagram earlier this week. I've been kind of ignoring it for about 2 months. I mean, I've done nothing about it. I haven't tried to fix it, I haven't tried to treat it, I've just ignored it. And it's because it's just one spot, and it's like, whatever. But if it was all across your entire tank, then you care. And you will see certain times a year when a lot of people seem to come out of the woodwork saying, I have cyano, what do I do? And that is just a bacteria growth that has grown out of control. It has become a bloom, and now you have to do something about it if you can't stand looking at it. And I'm going to preemptively tell you, use chemicals in your tank. Because everyone's like, oh, I don't want to put chemicals in my tank. I want to do it the natural way. And the best example I can give you about doing it the natural way is when you're sick and you're like, I'm not going to the doctor. I'm just going to let this go away the natural way. And you're miserable for weeks. And you finally kick it. Or worst case, you end up in the hospital. So rather than waiting that long period, treat the tank, solve the problem, get rid of it in 3 to 5 days, and be happy again. Because that's how nice it is. And I've recently had some people in my group on Club Melevsreef say specifically, I finally did what Mark said, and it worked great. My tank looks fantastic, and he posted a picture, and everyone loved his tank, including me. I thought his tank looked great. But if you discover that, in those comments under that same picture, there was at least one person, if not a couple, said, yeah, I waited a couple of months, and finally I couldn't take it anymore. And so that's the point. You shouldn't have to wait a couple of months. If your fish are sick, you don't wait a couple of months for it to clear up. If your corals are drooping, you don't wait a couple of months. You're like, I want to solve it. But why is it that we are so fearful of chemicals when all we do is pour chemicals in our tank on a regular basis? Alkalinity, calcium, magnesium, Prodibio, Acropower, that's one version of amino acids. Vodka dosing, vinegar dosing, sugar dosing, everything is a chemical. The salt mix you use to mix up and make salt water and pour that in your tank, full of chemicals. Do not fear chemicals. I understand the concern, but I would never tell you to use ChemiClean or Red Cyano RX if I thought it was going to hurt your tank. I would never tell you to use it. As a matter of fact, I'd say, okay, here's the one thing I tell everyone, never ever, you never hear me say that because the stuff works and it works great. On my website, I have specific recommendations of how I say to use it, and that is the tried and true method I use. It may not be what it says on the package, but using a chemical in your tank is okay. And to sit there and think, well, what about this and what about that? Okay, I understand your concerns, but at the same time, you want to get rid of the cyanobacteria. Now, this conversation is not supposed to be only about cyano. I apologize. I just leaned into it. But I did want to talk about testing because I have such an arsenal. So here is a very old refractometer that I use to measure salinity. And I did a video a while back about salinity, a live stream, and I went into swing arm hydrometers. You know, the kind you guys know what I'm talking about. Most of you were using it, which just blew me away because I really thought that was old school, dated. No one's using it anymore, and it seemed like a lot of people were using it. And I kind of got myself in hot water with you guys on YouTube because, you know, the ones using it were like, you're doing it wrong. And it's like, yeah, fair enough. I don't use it because I don't trust it. I trust this. And a refractometer is an optical device. You look through one end. You point this end at some bright light. You look through it. And with a couple of drops of salt water on your refractometer glass, you can then check the salinity of your system. And I'll do a quick video about how to use one next week. So that will come out. Speaking of videos, I did promise you Tammy's video would happen this week, and I was so freaking tired every night, I didn't get a chance to edit. So I will be working on it this week. So the refractometer video will come out, and Tammy's reef will come out. I promise. And I apologize, there's a few more days longer than planned. Just life, you know? Okay, so that's one way of measuring salinity. And that's an old refractometer. I've had it for a long time. Matter of fact, I'm surprised the case hasn't broken. This is a newer version that is made by Cybon, or Tropic Eden, sorry. Same people that have the sand in my reef tank. And theirs is packed really prettily. And this one here, it's okay. I'm not absolutely in love with it. The inside of it is, for some reason, the scale that they put inside there, you know, to read the salinity measurement, they kind of made it oval and they squished it. And I'm like, why don't you just give us the part we care about the most? Like, blow that up, because some of us aren't that young anymore. So I would love it if there was, and I understand, you know, some people need to measure 0. Some people need to measure 1.009. I was trying to think of hyposalinity. And there's people that want 1.021 and 1.019, you know, just depending on what they're trying to do. But for reef keepers, we want 1.026. So I'd love to have a range that's huge, and it's just like a few marks, like 1.028, 27, 26, 25, 24. That would be awesome. I would love that one just for us. Maybe I should make one that I sell that it's only for us reef keepers. But, all right, so that's that one. Then, I believe I told you guys about this one a while back. I got the ice cap refractometer, and there's no calibration whatsoever. Matter of fact, the batteries in it were dead as a doornail, which was crazy. I guess it was turned on when it got packed, and so the batteries were dead. Once I put my own batteries in, it came to life and worked just fine. So it's just got a simple on-off button. Just turn it on. Let's see if you can see this. Okay, did I kill the batteries again? Maybe that's what it is. It kills batteries. Okay, this is going to be the... Sorry, ice cap. But these were brand new batteries I put in, and now I've got another dead one. So it must be sucking the juice out of my batteries. This must be defective. But, okay, so now I talked to you about trending. And that's the thing. When you're measuring anything, you want to check how it trends over time. So no matter what device you're using, as long as you consistently use it over and over and over, you just want to watch that number and make sure it's staying pretty stable. If you use this week, and you used this week, and you used this one the third week, it's going to be impossible to know how your tank is doing. This is what I was talking about. I use this one. This is one I've been using for, boy, about 8 years. I really like this one. It's a digital refractometer. Turns on the front. I've shown it before in the past. And what it does is that you just put a solution of liquid on here, and it gives you the measurement. But my point is, stick with a device you like, one that you can read, and then keep it calibrated and verify what's going on. I'm going to tell IceCap to send me another one because this one clearly is defective. Okay, now here's something interesting I tried to do. I wanted to be really, really good about knowing my salinity. Because I told you, I trust the green digital refractometer. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, let me make sure I'm saying that right. Digital refractometer, that's correct. And so I used some accuracy calibration solution. And this one is 35 ppt out of the bottle, so you put it on whatever, set it to 35 ppt, which is 1.0265, and then measure your water. So that's what I did. I took, I have a sample of tank water here in a nice Crown Royal glass, and I put some on the refractometer, I put some on the ice cap, I put some on the digital, I put some on the Tropic Eden refractometer. All of them gave me different numbers. So frustrating. I mean, there was no consistency. I was able to get them all set to 35. That was fine. But my results didn't give me all the same numbers from my tank. And I tested over and over with each device. And like the ice cap gave me 1.024. My digital refractometer gave me 1.026. The Tropic Eden, and I believe this one, gave me 1.027. And I was like, oh. So how would I know what to believe? Now, I know I'm kind of in my range, but to know exactly, it's kind of frustrating. So that might have confused you more than helped you, but I just want you to understand it's not black and white, and there's a lot of nuances in this hobby. And as we do our testing, we want to, figure out what works best for us, but stay on top of it and keep it calibrated. And speaking of calibrations, if you're measuring pH with a pH probe, here's a brand new one that I ordered for my tank. I actually ordered myself a couple. This one's American Pinpoint. It comes in a calibration solution. It comes in a liquid solution to keep the tip from drying out. And all you would do is unscrew the cap slightly and pull it out. I'm trying not to get any liquid on my desk. And there you go. This is the tip of the probe. This is what goes in water. They come with a suction cup to hold on the side of your tank, which we know will never hold. And you can use a probe holder to keep it in place. You will need calibration solution to calibrate this. Somewhere here, I have a towel, so I don't get water. Now, if this is out of water for a few minutes, it's okay. If it's out of water for a few days, you've ruined it. So if you had one of these in your sump and you did a water change and you took the water out and it's exposed to air for a few minutes, that's okay. But if you were moving from one tank to the next and you drain the sump because you're going to move it out in the morning and you've got people coming over, take this in and put it inside this guy to keep it wet. Or put it in a cup of water, or put it in the tank itself. Just keep the probe wet. You want to calibrate it, and there's 3 different solutions you can use. And by the way, I just saw this on the live stream the other day from Neptune Systems. They are coming out with a pack of the calibration solutions, all inside one package. So you can just get that for your Apex system if you're an Apex user. That's kind of cool. But when it comes to calibrating these, we want to calibrate within the range that we are shooting for. So I would tell you to calibrate it with pH 7 and pH 10. And why? Because we're aiming for the number between those two numbers. So if we are trying to be 8.1 to 8.3 all day long, then between 7 and 10, that 8 is right in the middle. Now, if you are calibrating with 4 and 7, but your range is over here in the 8s, that's not really going to be so accurate. So I don't recommend using the 4 calibration solution. That doesn't benefit us. So stick with 7 and with 10. Same thing for a refractometer. Some of them say to calibrate with RO water, and that is the worst advice. I keep telling people do not do that. Even if the instructions say it, I say don't do it. I say to calibrate it with some actual calibrated solution. Now, this is a product I saw on my website. It's either $8 or $11, and there's a lot in here. This will go a very, very long way, as long as when you open it up and you take some out to calibrate with, you close the cap immediately so it can't evaporate and change the salinity level in the bottle. If you can't find this, there's stuff on Amazon you can buy, and it's just 35 ppt calibration solution. So get yourself some of that. This could be used to verify a swing arm hydrometer. You just use a whole bunch. This could be used to verify a floating hydrometer, but you'd need a very skinny, it's something you have in a laboratory that's very skinny and just wide enough to drop in the hydrometer. You'd have to add all that fluid to bring it up, to have it bob up and down, verify that the number's correct on that little card that's inside the glass. But for refractometers and digital refractometers, this stuff's great because it's going to tell you what 35 is, and that way you're close to your target number. And I keep saying 35 because it's easier than saying 1.0265. Now, when it comes to test kits, let me jump over here really quick again. I told you I'm using a whole bunch of, let me move this off here before I break it. I have been defaulting to ELOS now for the last, couple of years. And I've got phosphate, This one is calcium. The evil nitrate kit that always tells me when nitrates are high. I hate that kit. Alkalinity. Whoops, sorry. Alkalinity. And this one's probably phosphate. I can't even read. You know, there's no, the card's not showing through the window. Oh, magnesium. Magnesium. And then over here is phosphate. So I've been using those, and I really like them. And they've spoiled me because they're super awesome. But I also have Solifer test kits here. And they come all different kinds. I mean, there's like probably 9 different Solifer kits you can use. And then up here, I've got some Red Sea Pro. So we've got the calcium kit from Red Sea, magnesium. I believe I got alkalinity. Yep. And then back here, I bought some NIOS kits. So they've got the alkalinity, magnesium, and calcium. You can tell there's 3 I care about. And then finally, I told you guys last week about or 2 weeks ago, about the Royal Nature that came in, which is this is their calcium kit. And this one here says they can test up to 50 tests. So this one kind of has that look and feel to me of Solifer. And I got to kind of put them through their paces and see how they do. What else do I have over here? Oh, yeah, and I didn't even include the checkers. These are super popular. A lot of people love them. You've got phosphate, you've got alkalinity, you've got calcium, which is right here. This one here, I still need to actually put it through its paces, see how it does. And then lastly, because I test quite a bit, I have a magnetic stirrer. And this was given to me as a gift from a guy in China. And it has a little bead in there. And then you put it inside. There's a lot of white light. Let me switch cameras here. It's too washed out. So you've got a switch here and a speed knob control. And then as it spins, let's see. Oh, the light came on. It makes it worse for you to see, huh? Can't really fix that. Maybe I can. I want to show you it spinning. Anyway, let's do a test. So let's see if we can tilt that way. Move this out of the way. And we'll grab alkalinity because it's my favorite. And it's quick and dirty. If I can find it. All these test kits now. I got too many. Finally, found it. All right. So alkalinity is super easy to use. You need 5 milliliters of liquid, and then you just count the drops. And how many drops you have adds up to your alkalinity. It's super easy. I just need a plunger. Grab my solution. Grab my tank water here. And I always, like fill it up and push out the air, and then I fill it up again until I get to the 5 mark. And I've got a video about this exact kit, so I don't know why I'm doing this on live stream, but I'm just going to do it just to show you the stirrer in action. And you can shake this up for a few seconds just to make sure it's really mixed, even though if you use it all the time, you're not going to have to do that. But if you're doing it once a week, it's good to mix it up to make sure that the solution is all throughout the bottle. Then I just turn it on, and it's spinning now. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? And I just count my drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 5 DKH. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 drops is 8.5 DKH. It's a little bit lower than I like, so I'm going to change my calcium reactor setting to put out a little bit more solution into my tank to keep up with the alkalinity demand. When you're done, just pour out your solution into your nearby sink. And you can then rinse it out with some RO water. I just happen to have a carafe of RO water right by my desk, because that's normal. Normally, I'm a little bit more proactive at the sink, but, we're on camera. This is what we get. And then when you're all done, you can just shake it off and let it air dry. You can tap it out onto a bottle. I really like the glass bottles that the Red Sea kit uses and that this stirrer uses. So when I opened up that new type of test kit and it was plastic, I felt kind of cheap. I'm just getting too high class for my own good is what it comes down to. So, all right. I've ignored all of your comments because I've been so busy trying to do things on camera. So people are going to ask me, where did you get this? Where did you get this? It was a gift. There is one like this on the market already in existence. Matter of fact, Seaside Aquatics, I think, is selling a version of it too. Seaside Aquatics does not sell directly to the public, but they sell to stores. So I think if you told your store, I want this from Seaside Aquatics, they could get it for you and then get it to you. But there's another company that I feel is in the north part of the U.S. that sells a version of this one. This one here was 3D printed. The one that I've seen looks like it was cast, pressure formed. I forget the terminology they use, where they actually make like 5,000 of them. And so that is what I would, you'd be looking for something like this. Look for magnetic stirrer. I bet you in Google you'll find it. Later on, if I come across the company that sells it, I'll stick it in the comments of this video so that way you don't miss it. Now, if you are doing all of your tests and you're aware of your numbers, your parameters, because you're being on top of it, the next step then is going to be what to do about the numbers. Like I told you, my alkalinity is a little lower than I'd like it to be. My corals are growing. They're soaking up the alkalinity. I need more. I'm actually melting a lot of media right now in my calcium reactor. I've got my melt point pretty low. So melting it even further will just turn the media, I mean, in theory, could turn it to mush. That's only happened to me once in 14 years. But what I mean by mush is you've got all this hard calcified coral skeleton in there, and when you add the CO2 into there, it starts to melt it, and then that leaks out of the reactor, or comes out called the effluent. And it is basically my way of dosing alkalinity and calcium to the tank 24 hours a day. Similarly to you having a dosing pump and you're dosing alkalinity and you're dosing calcium, you're choosing to do that with a dosing pump and add it to the water. And so if your numbers are low, you increase the dose. If your numbers are high, you decrease the dose. I mean, that's all this is. And one of the things that you will learn, if you haven't already determined it by now, is that whatever change you make, you can't see the results for about 24 hours. So you're going to need to just let it run, and then the next day test, and then the next day test, and the next day, until you get that number that's just right for your tank. So it could be a little frustrating for a little time period, trying to make sure that everything is right, but in the end, when you've got it dialed in, then your reef will flourish. And then as your reef flourishes, you'll discover you need more, and you've got to dial it in again. And that's completely normal. Someone called me posh. All right, let's see. Okay, I don't know why everyone is asking this question, but the answer is, well, hang on, let me throw it on the screen. Did that work? There we go. Are you feeding or are you pulling from your reactor with a Kimura pump? I am pushing it in. I have always pushed liquid into my reactor. The other side will come out at whatever rate I'm pushing in. And that is just the weirdest question. I don't know why everyone is asking it. I mean, seriously, I don't understand it. Every reactor we have in our sump, GFO, carbon, biopellets, we push water in and it comes out the other side. It's the exact same thing with this. And before I had a manifold pump. Before that, I had a maxi jet. And I pushed water into the reactor, and then the water came out the other side. So just push it in. The whole pulling it out the other end, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I mean, okay, if you're pushing water into the reactor and the other end has a tube coming out, water's coming out at the exact same rate it's going in. If you put it on the outside pulling through, you've got it open on this end and you're pulling, what's the difference? So I think the only way this could be a difference is if you used the pinch valve or the clamp on the output line to reduce the output. Well, you don't need that at all with the Kimura pump or with any kind of a peristaltic pump that you're pushing water in. Just get rid of that. And it's just a tube that's open and it just drips or trickles into your sump. Mine is at a decent, way more than a drip, not quite a trickle, but I'm going to crank it up to be a trickle. Thank you. SR Aquaristic Speed Testing. I'm going to stick it on the screen. And it's on Amazon now. Nice. So if you guys want to buy that magnetic stirrer, this Mike, feel free to post. It's probably 50 bucks for that thing. Super worth the money. And anyone can say, well, I found another one for 20 bucks. Don't get it. Get that one. That one is awesome. Probably uses a 9-volt battery. Maybe uses a AA or a couple of AA's. I don't know what that brand uses. Mine uses a 9-volt. And it makes testing so convenient Because you know how with a lot of these tests, you got to, you hold your, here, what do I want to open? Let's take alkalinity. So here's your alkalinity test kit again. I'm going to tilt this down slightly. And then you've got your syringe to fill up the beaker. And then you've got your beaker. Here's one of those plastic beakers I was just whining about. And then you've got your syringe to put the liquid in. So normally you would, I love that there's an actual needle that's going to stab me in the flesh. So you would have your syringe full of solution, and you would be pressing on the end, and you shake, and you press, and you shake, and you press, and you shake, and you press, and you shake. And this whole routine is just, I hate it. It's called titration. I'm not a fan of that method because I'm so spoiled with my magnetic stirrer that just spins, and I can just drip, 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 like you saw in the alkalinity test, and it was super easy. So if you are looking for something awesome to buy yourself this year for Christmas or Thanksgiving or your birthday or right today because it's Saturday and it's water test Saturday, then I would say get one right now. All right, that's been on the screen forever. Now you're set. All right, let's see. Oh, someone just mentioned, I think I saw it here. Yeah. I appeared on television last night for 1 second. So if you blinked, you missed it. That was awesome. Reefing with O asks what I'm using right now to stream. This software is called Ecamm Live, and it's something that Terrence showed me, and I kind of like it. I mean, for what I'm doing, it seems to be working out pretty well. Surf Zone, I don't understand your question. If you ask it again, I'll try to answer you. Victor says that magnetic stirrer on Amazon was 40 bucks. Even better. So be sure you get one. By the way, some people have been asking me about getting these mugs. They're gone. Sold out. Sorry. When it comes to, since we're talking about test kits, make sure you check the box for the, can you see that? That's the date when they say it would be expired by, which is 11 of 2022. So this is good for a few years. But my general rule of thumb is the day you open up a kit, get your Sharpie, and somewhere on the box or inside the lid, you can write down the date you opened it, and then every time you open your kit, you'll know how much longer you have, and after 12 months, toss it. Whether there's some liquid left or not, just get a new kit. Usually, you want to test, every week, so that's 52 tests a year, and then when your kit is empty, toss it, get a new one. What you can do if you like, this may stress you out, or it may make you happy. You've got your old kit, and then you've got your brand new kit, same brand, and test one more time with the old kit the same day you tested the new kit. Make sure that values are the same. Like I said, hopefully they're all the same. If they're vastly different, then you will be upset, and you'll be mad at me because I told you to do this. But it would be nice to know that your old kit was actually still telling you the truth. And if you have two different values, you might have to buy a third kit just to find out what the truth is between all three. I don't. It's sort of like me with all the refractometers when I was measuring salinity, and I was like, none of these are agreeing. How am I supposed to know what the truth is? Okay. Now I'm understanding this question, so I'll stick it on the screen. What is the value of testing potassium, iodine, and iron? Iron would be a good test if you're trying to grow macroalgae because macroalgae needs iron in the water. And there are people that dose it on a regular basis to improve the growth of Chetomorpha, Caulerpa. That's about it. Iodine, very tricky to dose because I'm using the wrong terminology. I'm not a chemist. But iodine gets used up really fast in salt water. And I can't even tell you if it's being consumed or evaporating, but either way it's being used up. But our shrimp in the tank need it to molt. So if your shrimp are not molting for some reason, you may need to increase your iodine dose. Testing it's kind of tricky. I bought a test kit a long time ago. It probably was Seachem. It's whatever the fish store had. I found the kit to be very difficult to read. Potassium was something that started, I'd say about 10 years ago, and I believe it was Zeovit that was pushing the potassium measurement and telling us you need potassium, that'll give you these vivid colors. And people were just loving pastel-colored reefs. And so they were very focused on that. And there was a test kit you bought specifically to measure potassium. Elos does sell a potassium test kit. I have not tried it yet. Salifert, I bet, has it as well. Whatever Zeovit's system has, odds are they have a Korallenzucht, which is a brand for the Zeovit people, and they probably have their own potassium test kit. So there you go on that. These are the 3 that you could be measuring. And all of those elements are going to be in every batch of salt water that you mix up. So as you mix up a new batch and you do a water change in your tank, you're increasing iron, potassium, iodine, or iodide. That's all inside the salt mix. Here's an interesting one. I did not know this, so I'm going to stick it on the screen. Jeff, who is our interim expert today, says Zinnia loves iodine. I'm not putting you down, man. That's awesome. Okay. If there have been any questions that I have ignored and my moderators can drop them in here, I'd be happy to answer them. When you're buying test kits, make sure you look at the expiration date on the kit at the store. Someone just put that on the screen here. And you don't want to buy a kit that's been sitting there forever that just never sold. You would want to get a new one. And so I do check dates when I'm buying packages, and I pick something up and I look for the date on there, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy this one. Some kits won't have dates, others will. Jeff got my joke. Wow, our time's already almost up. What other newsy things do I have for you people? Reefer James says he requested a quote for some work to my website. I'm sorry if I've missed it. I will try to go back and find it. Feel free to resend it to me. I get a lot of emails, messages, texts, private messages, direct messages. People are reaching out to me from all over the place, including my emails. And I did have a problem with my email earlier this week where I wasn't getting it for some reason. It wasn't coming in, and I was... Anyway, resend it. That'd be great. Also, if you're using the Hannon checkers, the expiration dates will be actually on the reagents, just like someone said here on Red Sea, it's on the bottles themselves. Oh man, my throat's bothering me. There's going to be a short video. I'm going to upload to Facebook this evening. So maybe this afternoon, maybe not this evening. Maybe I'll just knock it out and get it over with, because it's going to be helpful and short. It'll be on facebook.com/melevsreef. And I'm looking for the link here. There we go. So if you'll go to that link right there, you'll find videos I upload. I upload one every single week. And if you are not following me on there, some of you don't want to use Facebook whatsoever, that's all right. You're just missing out on some of the videos I do. Livestream. I have only seen them as a demo at MACNA, actually for several years in a row. I have not seen the latest version, but my friend has one on his tank. He's part of the beta testers, and he loves his. He talks about it frequently. So I'm sure at some point, I'm going to say in the near future, let's see, who will win, Trident or Mindstream? I've been joking with the guys over at Neptune Systems that the Trident will come out in January of 2019, and they're telling me, no, that's not happening, but I keep telling them it's going to happen. So if you happen to see my comments in their live streams, you'll see me prodding them for January 2019, because I think that's a great month to release it. Jeff asks, when will I get more of these coffee cups? Man, I do not know. Actually, one of the things I was thinking about doing, matter of fact, feel free to comment in the chat later on if you're watching this video, because you watched it after the stream was over. I'm thinking about making a Christmas tree ornament with the logo on the side that you can order from the website. Would that be something you'd want? Let me know. That way it'll help me decide how many to buy. I think it's kind of a great. Someone actually suggested that in the group, and I thought, huh, I actually kind of love that idea. You know, even though I know you only see it for like a week or a week and a half or something like that, but that'd be kind of fun. Just a blue Christmas ball with the logo in white on the front, sort of like Hold My Frag, but say melevsreef. And I actually have a whole bunch of salt water related ornaments for my Christmas tree, and I have a whole bunch of Star Wars related ornaments for my Christmas tree. So my tree is salty and Star Warsy, because that makes total sense. Ray's Reefs asked, did I do my test today? Dude, I have a mountain of test kits. I will be doing my test today. I have not done them yet. I kind of wanted to, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream while I was late, there was a bee in my house, and I was trying to catch it before it caught me. Mark Fernitz asks if I would ship to the Philippines. It just depends what you're asking for. Certain things are definitely shippable. Certain things I cannot. Like, for example, if someone said I want to buy Neptune Systems products or I want to buy Ecotech products, I can't ship out of the country because each country has their own distributor. But if you're saying I want something you sell, like something you make out of acrylic, or you need some safety stop or Phosphator X, yeah, I can put those things in either a padded envelope or a small box and get that on its way to you. And basically, it's just a matter of knowing what you want to buy, so I can stick it on a scale, measure the thing, get an estimate on the cost of shipping, and then slowly get it to you. And it will be slow. It's international shipping. So Harkins answered my question, and he said, no ornaments. So he just wants to hang a mug on the tree. K&A Reefing has missed everything. So we're going to start over. Welcome to the show, everyone. We've been talking about water testing. You can watch the playback later. All right. Man, I got nothing this week. I had so much to share earlier this week that I think I burned out on content. Usually I have like 15 things I want to share with you guys, and now I feel like I'm just filling dead air. I apologize for that. In reef news, the tank, as you know, is doing really well. You guys saw the 5th year anniversary video last Saturday. And I bought 3 things. I bought 2 walking dendros that I put inside the anemone cube, and I bought an acan that is mostly dead. And I think that the acan was stung by a neighboring coral because I kind of put it in the spot that I liked, and it kind of rolled around because it had a frag plug on the bottom. And I removed it from that spot, cut off the plug, put it in a different spot, and it was and fell to the sand. And last time I checked it, there's just a little bit of life. So that's kind of a bummer. Spent like $65 on that frag and pretty much lost most of it. So anyway, if some of it survives, if any DNA survives, I will grow myself a new acan from that. And that is one of the things I love about this hobby, is that we can keep growing things from just a little bit of life. I should scroll way up and see what I missed earlier. Someone said here that the Milwaukee is too expensive. And I'm sure you're talking about my digital refractometer. I bought this in 2010. I used it. I did a product review on reefaddicts.com. And I'm using it 8 years later. And this thing cost me like $100. Maybe a little bit more. But I used it a million times. And that's an exaggeration, but a lot. I think I got my money's worth out of that $100. I just told you I bought a coral that's dead within the first week. That cost me $60. So I kind of feel like some of these things that we buy, they are great investments in our hobby. Scrolling. Oh, nope. Scrolling. Jeff asks, what kind of acan was it? It was a Lord Hoensis. It was a rainbow color. It was beautiful. And now it's less beautiful. Mark D asks, which do you think is more accurate? The HANA tester or the Red Sea? I don't have an answer. It's a good question, and you'll have a lot of people that love the Hannah checkers. You have a lot of people that love the Red Sea. I love ELOs. So I guess we all love the things that work the best for us. The Hannah checkers are supposed to be very accurate. There's very specific nuances that you have to perform, such as when you're using the checker and you fill up the vial, you have to wipe off every fingerprint. You have to tap out every bubble so that it's completely liquid and no air in it. And a lot of people say to turn so that the white 10 milliliter mark is facing the front in case there's different thicknesses of the glass that can throw off the measurement. I mean, like I said, it's very specific nuances. Where with Red Sea, you're just kind of dealing with counting drops and looking at color changes. It really just comes down to what you like using. I really have just leaned into ELOs because I found it to be very accurate and very easy to use. All right, this is a good one. Different topic. Would running the source water through a bucket of heated water help to, your RO system be more productive? Make it more efficient? Absolutely. On my website a long time ago, I told people to do this. And I said to take a huge coil of RO tubing, run it from the source of the wall through the heated water, and then up to your RO system, bring the temperature up. Because the colder the water is, and we're heading into winter now, so it's a great time to discuss this kind of stuff. The colder the source water is going in, the slower your RODI system will be. That doesn't make it less efficient necessarily, but it definitely feels like it takes forever. So if your water coming out of the wall in the summer is around 76 degrees and you've got a 100 gallon a day system, great. You are going to make about 4.16 gallons an hour. But if you have 50 degree water coming out of the ground into your RO system, that 100 gallon a day system becomes a 50 gallon a day system. It's just so much slower to process that water. So heating up the water in advance would be ideal. And actually, at one point, I actually talked with a guy. Somebody's going to steal this idea now because I'm sharing it. Oh, well. I always have ideas. I had this idea of making an inline heater that you would run the water through, and then it would go into the RO system, and you just have this heater that you have to plug in. And the thing is that you need a lot of heat to pull that off. Even if you're moving, I think it's a third of a gallon a minute that's going through the source line into an RO system. So you need something like 10 amps. That's a lot of electricity to heat up that water that's going in. So I really like the idea of a water jacket, where you have a bucket full of water and you submerge a 300 degree heater or something like that in there, and you crank the temperature of that water up to like 85 degrees and have the coils in there. But you see the coil, the tubing that the water's going through is kind of insulated a little bit. So even though it's sitting in 85 degree water, the water going through it's 50 degrees or 45 degrees, it's going to have a hard time, but it should bring it up some, which should help with your efficiency. So now you're going to pay a little bit more in electricity to heat that water. But I really like the idea of an inline heater, and I was looking into it, and it seemed like to make one would probably cost you like $150, to have a decent one. And then you got to plug it in somewhere near your RO system, which may be a challenge as well. Yeah, and that's exactly it, Victoria. It's just the water's colder, so the system takes longer to make. It's just a matter of changing how long your timers are set to remind you to turn it off when you're done making water. I need a heater for my coffee right now. Stephen, the high door inline heater probably will not do it correctly because the water is going through at such a slow rate. But you could try it and let me know. I mean, if that's the solution, that'd be awesome. I always felt like that's something that this hobby should have, and I'm surprised no one's made it. And it doesn't seem like it's overly complicated. I mean, it's plumbing, electricity, and water. It's what we deal with every single day with our tanks. Any other questions? This week, we're heading into Thanksgiving, this next week. And far as I know, I'm still in town, so we should have a live stream next Saturday. And if there's not, I'll put a notification up on YouTube to let you know. So that way you don't come looking for me and I'm not here and get all mad at me. And I think I'm going to wrap this up. We're coming up on the top of the hour. I know it's a little shorter than usual. I really enjoyed the stream we had last Saturday night when I was drinking champagne the whole time. That was fun. That was a long one. That was 2 hours long, but I didn't get a lot of thumbs down, so that's a good sign. I do want to emphasize that testing is really, really important. And when I read posts in Club melevsreef saying, I haven't tested in a while, I just kind of roll my eyes because I'm like, are you not listening to what I'm telling you? And I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I'm trying to help your reef be successful. So I do really recommend that you stay on top of it and measure on a regular basis. And if you have to measure even more frequently, if you have to measure 2-3 days a week to get something dialed in correctly, then do it. Stephen Smith asked me how I'm doing. I'm doing okay. I am going to the dentist on Monday, and actually the oral surgeon first, and then I leave his chair and go straight to the dentist, and then they're going to do the casting for the implant/crown, or whatever they call it. You know, it's an entire tooth that they have to fabricate from nothing and put in that place. And I'm supposed to get that in a couple of weeks. Rick asks me, how often do I feed my SPS? I really don't feed them very much at all because I feed the reef. I feed the fish, and then the SPS get a meal. But I guess I should say, when I put in Reef Booster from Prodibio, they get a chance to eat. When I put in Benereef from Benepets, that one also is a very tiny microscopic food, so they can eat then. And I would say I do that right now about twice a week. Do not use hot water in your RO system. Do not take water from your hot water side. Do not mix it with cold water. You can heat the cold water, but you cannot use water from the water heater, ever, in an RO system. Very, very bad. I would love to see Joey's inline heater. He had one of his videos up on King of DIY, and it was this manifold-looking thing. I was like, what is that? And he didn't go into it. And I was like, ah! So I'll have to go find the information on that one, because I'd like to know more about it. If someone has the link or whatever, you can send me a message. I'd like to check that out. Yes, I'm going to hit this topic one more time. Very important not to run the hot water through your membrane. You can destroy a membrane in a matter of minutes with a water temperature going across that membrane of over 112 degrees, 116 degrees, which is way below boiling point. So we never use water from the hot water heater. When you use, the reason you use cold water is that there's always fresh water coming out of your pipes. You wash your hands, you cook with it, you flush toilets with it, you're taking showers and baths. That cold water line is always moving. Hot water lines, they sit more stagnant. And plus all the crap that's inside a water heater, if you've ever opened one up to drain it, the shale, the rust, all that stuff that comes out the bottom, you don't want any of that getting into your RO system. Please do not do that whatsoever. Look, I will never stop fearing the dentist. I do this when I get to the dentist. I hold my hands together really tight, and I close my eyes, and I just willpower through it. I just white knuckle my way through it. I cannot stand it. But you know what? I just have to survive it, get them done. The sooner they're done, the sooner I'm healed, the sooner I'm happy. But no, I had a traumatic experience as a kid. I know it sounds ridiculously overdramatic, but it's absolutely true. And I have no love for these people whatsoever. And if I could just take drugs where I showed up, I would totally do it. But then they tell me I have to have someone drive me home. So instead, like I said, I white knuckle my way through it. We all have our things we don't like. Like a bee blowing around in my house, I took care of that too. And when I had a snake in here, that's a whole other story. Things happen. This is kind of a good question. Any specific test kits you can use past the expiration date? Well, technically, you can use any test kit, no matter how old it is, until it's empty. But how accurate will the information be that you're getting from that test kit? That is the question. And so, if you were to kind of use, an 8-year-old API test kit, measuring, let's just say you're measuring pH, you might not get the same results as you do from a pH probe that's been newly calibrated, that was newly replaced. So I recommend always to stay to current stuff and just toss the old and get a new one. Plus, everyone likes new things. This shirt has the worst collar. It just pulls the mic down. Or the mic pulls it down. I don't like that. Yeah, the vinyl tubing could be the solution to heating up that RO water. That is a long feed, though. Maybe 500 feet's too much, Mike. All right, I'm going to stop here. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I know this wasn't the world's most interesting topic, but it is absolutely important. If you have not, gotten enough motivation from this, please test your water. Today is Water Test Saturday. Post your results online. Share them on Instagram. Share them on Facebook. Tag me, at melevsreef. Do hashtag water testing, hashtag post your results. These are the things I tell everyone to do, and I do it because I tell myself to do it as well. My buddy Dwayne, whose beautiful reef I featured a few months ago on this channel, it just went downhill, downhill, downhill. He was cutting out death. He finally started to really look at it. He was talking with his friend Todd. I was calling him up and bugging him nonstop. What are you doing? What have you done? What have you investigated? He found his salinity had plummeted to 1.010. I can't believe any corals were alive in 1.010. That's insane. And so he fixed that. He fixed a lot of things, cleaned a lot of stuff up, took out a lot of death, and now his corals are all rebounding. So if your tank is not doing well right now, test your water, find out what's going on, go back to the basics. What did you do in the beginning? Do that again. Stop being lazy. Get on top of it. Find the problem. Solve the problem. Give your tank a chance to breathe and heal up, and you can have a beautiful reef too. And then in 5 years, you'll be posting a 5-year anniversary video like I did. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys over on Facebook. Bye!